Hello everyone, this is John Galt speaking, here with the last part in this trifecta series where we created a Steam menu system to give us the ability to host and join games. So, I caught my second wind and we're going to try to get this done so that I can move on to some other stuff potentially. Okay, so as always, this YouTube video series, this YouTube page is ran by contribution. So I'm going to go ahead and put this link in here. That is my PayPal. If you guys find what you find on this YouTube page useful and helpful, informative, instructive, the only way these videos continue to get made is by people making contributions to my PayPal. Okay. So with that, we're going to shut up and get started here because I want to try to get this knocked out. So this video series was already funded by someone, and we're going to finish it up. So just to recap where we're at, we can go ahead and go into a hosted game setting where we can pick between a couple maps, a couple different player limits, a couple different time limits, and host. And that puts us in the game, and then someone from outside the game can do the find games, and it will search and it will find this server here on the left-hand screen. And then they can join, and voila, there we are, both of us. So what we're lacking immediately is an in-game menu, so that once we're in the game, we have a way to get out of the game. Okay, and it ain't as simple as just, putting in a quick game. There's more to it than that. And that's what we're going to get into in this video, potentially putting the timer in, a match timer, and whatever else I can think of while we're doing this. Okay. So with that, we're going to get going here. Okay. So what we're going to need is an in-game menu. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the multiplayer folder, and we're going to go into widgets, and we did main menu. This is not a main menu. So we're going to add a new folder here, and we're going to call this in game. So we'll start us a new folder here. We're going to create a user interface, a widget blueprint, and we'll call this BTW underscore in game. Okay. I do have chat open, so for any of you guys who show up, feel free to leave comments or ask questions, and we're going to get to it. So I don't know how, we're not going to get stupidly fancy with this. Really, this just needs to be a couple buttons. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open this up here. And of course, it opens on my other screen because that's why it does what it does. It loves what it does. Okay, so what do we need here? We need a button. And we need a button. And we need a button. And we need a text on each of the buttons. So we're going to go ahead and put a text on each one of them. Okay. This first button here, we're going to call, what the hell are we going to call this? This is going to be the resume. Let's use all lower caps here. Resume underscore BTN. And this is going to be the resume underscore TXT. This is going to be the main menu. underscore btn. This is going to be the main menu underscore txt. And this is going to be the quit game underscore btn. And this is going to be the quit game underscore txt. We're going to turn all these buttons to 0.5 color, background and color, 0.5 tab, 0.5 tab, 0.5 tab, like that. This text is going to say resume. This text is going to say main menu. And this text, not the button, the text is going to say quit game. And we're going to select all three of the buttons, and we're going to right click, wrap with a vertical box. We're going to select the vertical box, and we're going to scale this, something like that, right there. And we're going to anchor that to the center. And we may have to, we could do this, right? So if you zero this out, actually, no, you don't zero that out. You zero the top two out, and then you put it to 0.5 tab, 0.5 tab. That'll center it dead nut center for you, by the way. I guess we will compile that and save it. And before we go to putting anything in the buttons, we need to get it on the screen, right? So in the last video, we created a player controller. We're actually going to need one more blueprint other than that. And that is going to be a HUD for this player. Okay, so let's go ahead and minimize this down. And under the player, we're going to right click here, create a user interface. Oh, no. We're going to create a blueprint class. We're going to go under the search here, and we're going to type in HUD for HUD. We're going to select a HUD, and we're going to call this HUD underscore MP Steam, name of the project. And then we need to go into the game mode, which will be under the system folder. And we need to define our custom HUD that this player is going to use. And we will compile that and save it. And now we got to put it on the screen. Okay, and this is where the player controller comes in. So the player controller, by default, let me save this, is already listening for button presses. Okay, so we're going to open this, go into the full blueprint editor, and we will delete event tick, but we're going to be using event begin play probably. Yeah, I mean, we'll go ahead and use it now. Okay. But really, I believe we need to do this in the HUD. Yeah. So let's compile that and save it. And let's just go into the HUD first. So I'm going to go ahead and open it so I don't have to jump back and forth. Let's go into the HUD and into the event graph. Delete these two, and we're going to use the event begin play. Okay. we're going to put a has authority, switch has authority node here. And we're going to be doing create widget out of the authority. And the widget we're going to be creating is that main menu, or not the main menu, the in-game menu. The owning player is get owning player pawn. No, get owning player controller. I'm sorry, that's the player controller. And we're going to do this. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to call this. I need to remember my naming convention. What the hell have we been calling this shit? Let me go look. Otherwise, that's going to drive me nuts. Let's go into the game instance. What have I been calling all these refs? Yeah, just the name of the... Okay. All right, fine. Have it your way. So this is going to be called in-game menu ref. Okay, so we're gonna go rename that file in the widgets in-game. We're gonna call that in-game menu. Okay. All right, now let's get back to where we was. Where the hell was we? In here. So that'll create the widget. And now we need to get the button press that we're going to use to hold on here. I'm looking at my reference. What the hell did I do here? Yeah, okay. So we're going to create a custom event. Add custom event, and we're going to call this show in game menu. Doesn't have to be replicated or any of that stuff. And how we're going to get here, we're going to display the widget in the HUD, but we're going to call the widget to be displayed from within the player controller. Okay. So in the player controller, we're going to have to pick a button to do this. So for now, I'm just going to type in tab, and we're going to use the keyboard event tab. And then we're going to right click and type get HUD. Then we're going to cast to that custom HUD we just created, which is called HUD MP Steam. And we're going to call show in-game menu. And so the player controller, once again, let's delete this event begin play. The player controller by default is already listening for button presses. So when we mash this, it's going to reach up into the HUD, which is where we just created this custom event right here. And we already created the widget, and we have it stored in a reference in here. We just need to turn it on and turn it back off again. Does that make sense? So that's what we're going to do. And I think we need to set this up on a toggle, right? So that when you press tab the first time, it brings up the in-game menu. And then if you mash it again, it'll turn it off again. So I think that's what we're going to try to do here. Try to keep it as less clickety clackety as possible. Okay, so what we need to do is get the reference to this, get it, and we need to see if this is visible, this function called is visible. And I know this drives people nuts, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to pull out of the return value and type not. And we're going to put this not operator here. Hold down the B key to make a branch and left click. So if this is not visible, we're going to make it visible. If it is visible, we're going to make it invisible. Okay. So off of the true, we could, how anal are you guys about your wires, right? We could pull it right off of here and we could say add to viewport, or you could just drag in another reference, right? You guys can, oh shit. You guys can pick however you want to do that. Then we need to get owning player controller. And we need to set input mode to game and UI. Okay, so set input mode to game and UI. And then we need to set show mouse cursor to true. And that's it for that part. And now we need to undo it, right? So that's if it's visible. If it's not visible, we're going to make it visible. If it is visible, we need to make it invisible, right? So we can use this same owning player controller, and we're going to say set input mode back to game only, and this will come off of the false side. And we're going to set show mouse cursor back to false. And then we need to get a reference to that menu, which is here. Get this. And we're going to remove from parent, like so. And compile that and save it. And that should do it, right? So let's go see if that doed it. So we go to host a game. Oh, these menus. I'm going to have to open that map up so we don't have to do this every time. So now if we're in the game and we press the tab button, it brings up that little in-game menu. And then if you mash see, and it gives you your pointer so that you can pick and click it. Of course, it don't do anything yet, but, and then if we hit tab again, it did not go away. Why? Already broke it. Let's go to, maybe we have to, no, actually that should have did it. What the hell did I do here? So it's not visible. So it added it, right? Obviously. And then if it is visible, it's supposed to make it go away, and it didn't. Let me open up a map so we don't have to go through them stupid menus every time. The hell? So it definitely brought it up. And then oh, there it went. Maybe I mashed the wrong button. So there we go. Oh, wait a minute. It's when I click them. When I click them, it won't turn it off. And if I click back in the game to capture it, it does. Well, that's not really problematic because if you mash one of these, it's going to do something, right? So that's not a problem, but that's still kind of weird to me. It's the whole set UI to game and UI. And what happens is when you click the UI, it kind of don't let you do anything in the game. And then if you click off of the UI, it puts you back in control. And so that's what's happening. That's why it's doing that. So see, I can still move around in the game. And then now if I hit tab, it'll bring it back. But if I hit tab and click the menu and then try to hit tab, it won't do it. You have to recapture the game screen in order to do it. And see now, if I'm just running around, it won't let me have it back. But if the moment that I click on anything other than the UI, it gives it back. So that's weird. That's just freaking weird, but that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. So that'll do it, right? And now all we got to do is put the, what we want it to do in the buttons, Okay. So let's go to this in-game menu. You know what? These buttons are not thrilling to me. So we're going to wrap this vertical box with a scale box just to make it a little bit easier for me to dick with. And then that way you can make those buttons a little bit fatter. I'm not the UI guy. I'll just tell you guys right now, I'm not. I know I say that every damn 5 minutes in a video, but I don't like doing things I'm not very proficient at. It makes me nervous. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go into the graph and we're going to make these buttons do some stuff. Okay. And this little menu here is not going to be near as complicated as some of the other shit that we've did, which is a disaster and a nightmare and every other thing you can think of. So I'm looking here. Let's see which one would be the easiest to start with. All right, let's delete this event tick and let's create our game instance reference like I always do. So this will be get game instance, cast to the custom game mode. Or I mean cast to the custom game instance. We promote this to a variable and we name this GIMP theme REF. And we'll compile that and save it. And the resume button we'll do first. So select the resume button and we'll do an on clicked. And really this is going to be a remove from parent. And we need to get owning player. That'll go well, that's after that. We need to go to our player controller, right? Because now we have a player controller. We have to direct the logic to go to the player controller. Okay. So cast to the player controller, the custom player controller, like this. And we're going to set input mode to game only. And we're going to set show mouse cursor back to false. So basically we're just, you know, taking the stupid widget away, which the remove from parent could probably be at the end of this instead. I don't think it would matter really, but we'll just go ahead and move it down there. Order of operations, guys. Sometimes you got to do shit in order, and sometimes it really don't make a damn. But it's always good to get in the habit of doing it in order. So first, set the damn input mode back, and at the very tail end of that, remove the stupid widget. Okay? So let's see if that part. The main menu button. So select the main menu button. Add an on clicked. And this one's oh, yeah, no, it ain't as easy as I thought it was. All right, we'll park this for now here. And let's go ahead and do the quit game button. Add an on clicked. Okay. Yep. And now we have to get specific, right? So we're going to be doing this part right here again. So we can select these two, hit Control W, and we'll bring this down here. And then we're going to quit game. And we'll plug this in here. And the specific player matters now since you're actually in game, which is why some of the ones that you guys seen me do earlier that we did quit game, we didn't have to plug in a specific player. And the reason for that is because you're not in the game yet. You're only in the menu system. So the moment that you spawn into the game, things have to get a whole lot more specific. So that's the reason for this and why we're not just, see the other ones you guys see me just take out of here. Like, well, let me show you what I'm talking about instead of just rattling. These are supposed to be instructional videos and not me just talking, but let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So in here, in the game instance, every time you guys see me do this, it was always get player controller, and we just plugged it straight into the set input mode and the show mouse cursor. And that goes for every single one of these in here. And the reason for that is because at this point in the game, you don't have a player controller yet. Okay. So what it does is it takes the player that's in index 0, which there can't be at this point of the game. There can't be any other player than the one that is in index 0, which is you, right? The one operating the menu. See? So then once you spawn into the game, and I told you guys that in the last video, we was going to have to start doing some stuff in the player controller. At that point, you have a player controller. So you can't use this here because you could have 10 players connected to the game. Well, if you do this, the only one that's going to affect any logic that you do is the one in player index 0, which is going to be the person who hosted the game. So in order to make it work, regardless of which player does it, that's when you have to do this, because basically it's taken whose HUD is the player controller owns the HUD. So you can see it saying get HUD, and it says target is player controller. So the player controller owns the HUD. So it gets, whose HUD is open right now? Let me access his player controller, right? And that's how you can get specific about who you're talking to, who the logic and who the scripting is talking to. Notice it don't say player index 0 here, right? And if you were to try to do get player controller as an example, look, it's only going to talk to the one in index 0, which won't be client 1 or client 2 or client 3 or client 4. Okay. It's weird. It's weird. Now, what the hell was I doing? Who am I again? What were we doing over here? Yeah, we're not in here. We're in here. Yeah, so it's just that to quit game. Now, this next one, for the main menu, this one is going to get a little weird because we're going to have to create in the player controller, we're going to create a custom event in here. And this is going to be called client leave. Maybe this is going to be ran on the owning client, I bet. I can't remember exactly, but client underscore leave game. And let me just look and see if I did. Yep, I absolutely did. So this is going to be set to, this is I think this is the first thing that we did when it comes to these custom events that we actually have bothered to set, whether it's run on the server, run on the client, multicast. I think this is the very first damn one. This one is going to be set to run on owning client. Okay. And what happens here is from the widget right here, we get the owning player. So it'll be this exact same node again. We cast to the player controller, which we could have just copied that, but we cast our custom player controller here. And then we call client leave game. Okay. And then we have to go into the player controller and do some stuffs. Okay. Because once again, it ain't as simple as just leaving the game. Okay. Because it leaves the session still active. Or if the server does it, the clients flip out when the server leaves and they don't know what to do. And you sit there with a black screen of death. Okay. So there is an event in here built into this engine called event end play. See it right here? Okay. And then we're going to be doing what's called a switch on end play reason. Switch on end play reason. See this? I bet you guys ain't never seen this damn node before. Took me a long time to find this bitch. Unfortunately, it did. And I made a bunch of shoddy shit before I discovered this too, by the way. Okay. All right. Now we're going to create another custom event, but this one is actually going to go into the game instance. Okay. So we're going to go into the game instance. In here, let's find us a blank spot, and I'll try to tidy this up a little bit, but you guys don't want to sit and watch me straighten out cords and shit for 3 hours, I'm sure. So over here, we're going to create one, and we're going to call a custom event. We're going to create a custom event, and we're going to call this destroy session caller. Okay. And we're going to pass through. Is that the generic one that I put in there? Yep. We're going to pass through a player controller. So we're going to create a new parameter here, and we're going to call this player controller. And we need to change this to the type player controller. Just the generic player controller. not the custom one that we created, just the generic player controller reference. Okay. And then we're going to use this node called destroy session, this function called destroy session, like this. See there, guys? It ain't as easy as just leaving the game, just shutting her down. You gotta unwind all the shit that you did. Okay. And also, this would be a really good place to zero out all of these selected variables, right? So we're going to bring in the selected map name. We're going to set it, and we're going to set it to nothing. We're just going to reset it back to default. We're also going to take the selected max players, and we're going to set it, and we're going to set it to 0, back to default. And then we're going to take the selected match time, and we're going to set it back to 0. Okay. And then we're going to do this. Okay. So the purpose of this here, if you guys don't understand right now, the purpose of this is because you have to unwind everything, right? So when you're in the menu getting ready to host, you know how you can select a map, you can pick the players, etc., etc. If you don't revert that back to default when you leave, it will remain when you come back. Okay. And it dicks up everything. So you have to zero it out. And this is the way that I chose to do that. Okay. And so back into the player controller, on destroyed, on event end, on destroyed, we're going to get game instance, and we're going to cast to the custom game instance on destroyed, and we're going to call destroy session caller. And the player controller is going to be self, meaning whatever player is a hold of this player controller, that's the one. Okay. And we shall compile and save that. And now, if we are removed from the world, we're going to call client leave game. Also, if we quit, we are going to call client leave game. Okay. And then on this client event that we created, we're going to get a reference to self here, and we're going to use the destroy session, and that'll be the player controller. And then we're going to open level on either success or failure. Doesn't matter, either one. And this will be the main menu, right? So we need to go get the name of that map. Remember, I told you guys map names are important. So I always just come back to the map and copy the name. That way I don't make a typo. Just saves me a step or two maybe. And we put that in here like that. And we compile that and save it. And I think that's it, right? So that's how you actually have to leave the game. You don't just leave. You got to unwind all that stuff. So let me close all this down here, and we will do a little bit of a test here. We save everything, and let's actually go through the menu this time. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. And if this player quits, it'll probably kill both, because this doesn't work exactly the way that it's supposed to until you actually package the project. But let's see, if I quit the game here, yeah, it kills both. But if I take this player into single player, hit tab, and go to the main menu, it shouldn't affect this screen at all, right? So if I go to the main menu, it doesn't. And this should be the same way, right? So if I host up a game here, let me go ahead and host a game. Yep. And then if I take this guy, find a game, connect up. Yep. And then I bring that menu up. If this guy goes back to the main menu, it won't do anything to this guy, right? See? Now, used to, the old way that I did this, before I figured out you actually had to unwind your joining and unjoining of a game, it would throw this guy to a black screen of death, I think. And then if this guy did the same thing, it would kill this guy to a black screen of death. So let me go back in here. We'll be able to test this a little better when I package this out. And we will package this out just to make sure everything's working the way that it's supposed to. Sometimes you can get stuff to work in the editor and it don't work in a package build. And sometimes you can get stuff to work in a package build, but it won't work in the editor. Map travel is a good example of that. Map travel won't work in the editor ever. You have to package it. I don't know why. I don't know why, but it don't. Okay, so if the server goes back to the main menu, it should kick this guy that's connected back to the main menu as well. So let's see here. Boop. And there it goes. Magic. Magic. Okay. Let me bring Chad up. I haven't checked on it. Hey, Oni. Hey, John. Scott. What are you guys? You back? Are you back? We're almost done here. I don't know if I'm going to put the match timer on here or not. I don't know what purpose it would serve other than to just have it. I don't know, though. We could do the whole rotate back and forth between maps thing. Maybe I will put it in. Shouldn't take too long. Okay. What are we doing? Who am I? What are we doing again? So we got the in-game menu stuff done. Trying to think if I'm forgetting anything or if we can just go ahead and move on to the match timer. I don't think we're missing anything. No, we just need the match timer. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, let me open up the map. And let's see, how did I do that? I think I did that in the HUD. Let me look. Yep, I did. Okay. I mean, we could do the server admin menu too, but for right now, I'm not going to do that right this minute. Make it where when the server brings up the in-game menu, he gets to be able to reset the timer or initiate map travel. I might do that, but not right yet because we ain't even got a damn timer, so it doesn't even matter. Damn cigarette keeps going out. Okay. So sick of widgets, I could puke. Let's see here. Okay, well, that looks simple enough. Okay, fine, we'll make it. We'll do it. So under widgets, in game, I'm going to create another user interface widget blueprint, and we're just going to call this WVP or BPW. Shit, dyslexia. Match timer. Maybe we'll put timer. Yeah, and I mean this can be stupidly simple. So we'll bring in a text, and we will call this text time remaining underscore txt. Time remaining txt, and we will actually call this time remaining, and we'll put this in some kind of a box here, so it doesn't really much matter just yet. And then we need another text here, and this will be the timer. So we will call this timer. Maybe we'll call it timer countdown underscore txt, like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put 00 colon 00 colon 00. So we have something like that. And then we'll center this. And we could probably put that in a vertical box, right? So let's select both of these, right click, wrap with a vertical box. Yeah, we could do that. And just for shits and giggles, let's bring an image in here. And we'll do this, and this, and this. And we will put the image behind the vertical box. And then we're going to turn the color of this to 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 tab, and then the alpha to 0.5 as well. Actually, we need to make that solid black like that and leave the alpha as 0.5. And then we can kind of move this up here. And then take that vertical box, move this up. And then we could anchor that to the top center. And maybe we need to fucking do this. And then set this to, it can't be 0.5, can it? Right? 1 tab, 1 tab, 1 tab, 1 tab. Nope. It would be -1. I fucking hate UI. Did I ever tell you guys I hate that? -1. Nope. -0.5. I'm trying to get it to go right to the edge. Nope. 1. Nope. Well, hell, what can it be? It's got to be something close to that. Well, I guess it's 1. -1? -0.5? Fuck it. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Yeah, well, we'll call it close enough, okay? Who gives a shit? I suck at UI something so bad it ain't even funny. Okay, and then we'll compile and save that. And that's good enough. Compile and save it. That's good enough. But now we need to put it on the screen. So that'll take place in the HUD. And we can do that on event begin play here. Let's just move this up a little. Put a sequence. I might move these around a little bit. I think we'll create the in-game menu on bin 1. And this one will be, well, we can dupe this and put this on bin 0. This will be the same player controller. Promote this to a variable. And this will be called match timer. So this will be match timer ref. Oh yeah, that's exactly right. Why is your caps lock on, moron? Match timer ref. And we add that to the viewport. Hold on here. Yeah. So we go ahead and add that to the viewport. So we will get the ref and we will add to viewport. All right, now let's go see if it's in there. I don't see it. Oh. You guys know what I did? Do you know what I did? That's got to be the damn match timer. Hello. Which now means wait a minute. No, that was right. Fuck me. That's what I get for moving shit around. This needs to be the match timer. What the hell did I do here? Do what I'm trying to do. Don't do what I'm not trying to do. If it ain't broke, fix it till it is. Now let's try this again, shall we? Promote this to a variable. And this will be the match timer ref. I didn't have the right damn widget plugged in here. And when I created the variable, it automatically populates the variable type. I could have changed it, but fuck it. Just delete it and start over. And it did it again. That's not what we're trying to do. That's because that's wrong. And that's wrong. We'll get it right in a minute. It's been a long day, guys. How about now, you trifling peckerwood? Look at that. Beautiful. Now we just got to make it count shit. That ain't complicated at all. Sure it ain't. You guys want to see how to make a countdown timer? The redneck way? Unfortunately, that's going to cause us to have another blueprint. So many blueprints, so little time. I think we need a game state. Let me just look here. Yep. We're going to have a game state, fellows. So we're going to right click here, create a blueprint class. And we're going to type in all classes. We're going to type game state. And we'll use a game state base. Select. We will call this GS underscore MP Steam. And that will be the game state. Okay, and so in the game mode, we now have a new blueprint to plug in here, which will be the game state. And that will be the custom one we made. Compile that and save it. And now we get to go make another mess. Okay. Oh God, this is a lot more complicated than I remember. Okay, but we'll stomach through it. Okay, so let's open the game state. Go into the event graph, and we're going to delete the event tick. And we're going to be creating a custom event. And this is going to be called timer count down tick. I bet you guys thought I was going to put it on event tick, didn't you? Didn't you? And we're going to be doing a set timer by event. On event begin play, we need a has authority, switch has authority node here. And we are going to, on the authority, we're going to start a timer. And this is going to be plugged up here. And this is going to be 1 second, every 1 second. And it's going to be looping. We're going to promote this to a variable. And this is going to be called count down timer handle. Okay. Okay, this is going to require a function, and we'll save that for last. Okay. So we need a variable in here that's going to be called timer text. And this is going to be, what type is that? It's going to be a text type, and it is going to be replicated. We will compile that and save it. Just looking through my crap here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting this, but how we get from there to here is a pain in the ass. We are also going to be setting this here, right? So right here, we're also going to be setting this. So let's go ahead and put this in line here. And it's going to be hell to get there. Okay, but we'll try to stomach through it here. This is a lot more complicated than people think it is. This part. Okay, so you guys may or may not have ever seen these variable types used. So pay attention here. Pay attention. We're going to create a new variable. And this is going to be called timer time span. And this is going to be of the type time span. See this variable type here called time span? That's going to be the type. And you see the format here of it? It's got days, hours, minutes, and milliseconds. You see that? That's pretty cool, huh? Built right into the engine. So we're going to drag this thing in here and get it. And then we're going to right click and we're going to say split struct pin. And you see how it does here? It breaks it apart into all these. We're also going to right click here and do break time span. And we're going to right click on this side pin and we're going to split it. You guys see what we're fixing to do here? So we're not counting in days. So we're just going to plug that straight in. But we are going to be modifying the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. We're not going to be dealing in milliseconds here. So we're going to plug that in like that. And then we're going to take the timer time span hours and we're going to say plus. And this will be integer plus integer. And we're going to plug this in like this. Okay. We're going to promote this to a variable. And this is going to be hours. Compile that and save it. And that needs to be 0 for now. We're not supposed to be putting values in it yet. So we're going to pull this one up here. And we're going to set that right there. And we're going to dupe that again. So Control W. And we're going to go into the minutes and plug the back side up into minutes. We're going to dupe it again. And we're going to plug the seconds into seconds. We're going to create another variable. And this is going to be minutes. And that needs to be an integer. And then we're going to create another one. And this one is going to be seconds. And let's go ahead and compile and save all that stuff. And now we can do the minutes, get it, plug that one into the minutes. Get the seconds and plug that one into the seconds. Okay, so see what we did? We took a time span, we broke it, and then we're going to change some values inside the time span, and then we're going to put it back together on the back side. You guys see that? Pretty cool. Okay, now we're going to be doing a format text. See this text utility format text? That's what we're going to be doing. And this is really weird. So I hope you guys can follow along here what I'm going to do. Right here where this format is, I'm going to click in here. And I have no idea what the proper name for this button is, but it's like a parentheses, but it's got the point in it. And there's one that goes to the left and one that goes to the right. So as I'm typing this here, I'm going to try to say that. So I'm going to hold shift, and it's by the P key, by the way. So there's a bracket, and then there, if you hold shift, there's this little squiggly line with a pointer in it that goes to the left. I'm going to press that button. Then I'm going to put a capital H, and then I'm going to close that with the opposite one. So shift and 2 buttons to the right of the P key. Then we're going to put a colon. Then we're going to put that bracket to the left again. And we're going to put a capital M. And then we're going to close the bracket. Then we're going to put a colon. Then we're going to put the left bracket. And we're going to put a capital S. And then we're going to put the right bracket. And then we're going to hit the enter key and pray. Bam. There it is. So now you can see we have hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay. Which I could have typed hour, and it probably would have named it hour. I don't know much about these little nodes other than they're a mystery wrapped inside of an enigma. You put programming in here and it does shit to the node. I don't get it. But either way, it doesn't matter because we're just going to roll with it. Okay? Okay. So now we're going to take the hours out of here and we're going to type to text int. See this? And we're going to open this. And we're going to set the minimum integral digits to 1, and the maximum is just going to be 2. And then we're going to close that back up, and we're going to plug that into the H. Then we're going to do another to text int, to text int. We're going to open this one, and this one is going to be minimum digits of 2 and maximum digits of 2, and we're going to collapse it, and that's going to go into the minutes, and then this one is going to be the same, so we can control W and dupe that. These settings in here are going to be the same, so notice that this one is a minimum of 1, a maximum of 2. This one is a minimum of 2, maximum of 2. And this one is a minimum of 2 and maximum of 2. So just pay attention to the settings that were put in there. This is to format it so it looks correct on the display, right? And so we go into here and into here like that. And then we compile that and save it. And that is what's going to be set here, and that is also going to be what's set here. And we will compile that and save it. And we're going to go ahead and stick a branch in here, and then we'll go make the function that I was telling you guys about. So if the hours is equal integer, the minutes is equal integer, and the seconds is equal integer, then that means the timer has reached 0. So we're going to put an and here, add a pin, and we're going to do this and this and this, and then that's going to be the condition. So at this point, when all those reach 0, the match is over, right? And so this will fire here. And we're just going to put a do once here. And essentially what we'll do is just stop the timer. So that timer handle we promoted here, we need to get that. countdown timer handle, and we need to say clear and invalidate timer by handle. And that will stop that timer ticker, and that's it. At this point, the match would be over if the timer reaches 0. Then, of course, you would put logic out beyond this to tell it what to do after the match is over. Okay? Okay, so now we got to put a function right here. Okay, so I build it that way first, and then I come back and put the function in. So we're going to be creating a function here, and this is going to be called tick count down timer. Shit, let's put that on it. Tick count down, and that needs to be a lowercase d. Tick countdown timer. And we shall build this function. So we're going to need a new timer, a new time span, right? This variable. So I'm just going to duplicate that, and we're going to change this to be called seconds. Seconds time span. How about that? Seconds time span. Wait, why we got an error? Can't parse default value. Well, we'll figure that out in a minute. Where is that? Is that in the function that I created? I don't know. We'll come back and get it. Quit disturbing me. I'm trying to work here. So we're going to take the seconds time span, and we're going to get it. We're going to right click and split it again. And then we're going to do the timer time span here. We're going to bring this in, get it. And we're going to pull out of this and type minus. And this is going to be time span minus time span. We're going to split the bottom pin here. And then we're going to be setting the timer time span to this. So we're not dealing in days. We're not dealing in hours. This is a second. It's going to tick 1 second out of here. So the only thing we need to deal with is this seconds here. And it's going to be plus. I know you guys are thinking it's going to be minus here, but it ain't. It's going to be plus. So we're going to pull out of this and type plus. This will be integer plus integer. And it is going to be 1. Okay, we'll compile that and save it. That error must have been in here. I don't know what I did, but it didn't like it, whatever the hell it was. Okay, and so that function is going to go right here. So we're going to drag that function in here, and we're going to put it right here. So every 1 second after event begin play happens, it's going to set whatever values we set in here. It's going to set it, and then it's going to start ticking, right? Every 1 second, it's going to tick, and it's going to run this function. This function is going to deduct 1 second from whatever you set the timer to be. Okay, it's going to deduct 1 second, and then it's going to set that timer text. And this is going to keep monitoring all those values, hours, minutes, and seconds. And when all of them equal 0, the last tick of this will go through the true. It'll do this 1 time only just to be safe that it don't keep trying to tick more than once. Then it's going to kill the timer. Okay? Okay. So now we need to remember we gave the player in the menu, the host, the option to set what amount of time they want to deal with. So I'm going to have to look at that and see how we can transfer that in here. But in the meantime, what we can do is just punch a value in it and we'll see if it'll do anything. So let me pop in here. Let's just put in, we're not going to do hours, but let's just put in the minutes. Let's put in 15 minutes and we'll spawn in here and let's just see what it does. Oh, well, it ain't going to do shit yet, right? Because we ain't even hooked it up in the widget. So scratch that. We're not close enough to test it yet. Okay. So let me see. Let me see here. We're just going to do the widget, right? We'll do the widget part first, and then we can test it, and then we'll figure out how we transfer it from the game instance into here so that the menu system that we built will work so that we can set this timer value from the menu instead of having to manually come in here and set it. Okay. So let's go into the in-game widgets, into the match timer, and really we just need to create a binding to this text right here. This text, the one we put all these zeros in. So we're going to create a binding here. And we're going to have to get a reference to the damn game instance. Wait a minute. That's where, I'm just looking at my reference here. That's where it's coming from. Aha. I think we're going to have to do the other part first. Yep. That's what we're going to have to do. But we can go ahead and create, well, no, we'll do that next. I need to go into the, let me look at my reference over here. I need to go into the game instance and wait a minute, what? Well, it's definitely saying I've got this in the game instance here, but I am not seeing it. I'm looking. Maybe that's not the game instance. It ain't. I named it wrong. Okay. That makes more sense now. Son of a bitch, I found a bug. Well, it's not really a bug. It's a naming convention failure in my project I have on the marketplace. Which is fine. So in the event graph, we're going to do one different than we've been doing, right? So this time around, we've been getting the game instance, and that's why I automatically assumed that's what it was. It ain't. It's get game state. And then we we cast to our custom game state, which is this GSMP Steam. And then we promote this to a variable, and this shall be called correctly. This will be the GSMP Steam ref. GS is for game state, by the way. Son of a... And now we get the reference to the game state. And from that, we get the timer text. Get timer text. And we just do that. And we're going to rename this to get timer text. File that and save it. And now we should be able to test it until we figure out how to transfer it in here. So let's put 15 minutes in here and compile that and save it. And let's go spawn in and see if it actually is working. Look at that. 57, 56, 55. And it's exactly the same on both screens. So it is replicating properly. We need to make sure it's stopping. So let's go back in there and change the, we can close that now. Yeah, we can close that. Let's change it from minutes to seconds, right? So let's set that back to 0. And we will go into the seconds and let's just set it for 25 seconds. And let's see if it stops ticking whenever it gets to 0, because you don't want it to start going negative on you. So let's just see. Actually, I want to monitor and see if all that stuff's firing. So let's go into the game state. And what we'll do is we'll just get it to do a print string. And we'll say match is over at this point. The match is over. And once again, that's where you trigger map travel or make it show widgets over who won, who didn't win, whatever. Let's just see if it pops up that in the upper left-hand corner. I should have just did 5 damn seconds or something. Whatever. Wait for it. Boom, match is over. Voila. There you have it. Now we just got to get it to be set from the menu. Okay, I'm just going to leave that in there. And we need to zero these out because once again, they're going to be coming from the menu system determined by who, what you select in that drop down. So let me look at my reference here and see if I can figure out how I did this. Okay. Okay, I think I see what I did here. That didn't take long. Okay. So we're going to need a sequence right here. So hold down the S key and left click. And then 1 is what's going to start that stuff. Then 0, we're going to create a reference to the game instance. Okay. So we're going to right click here and say get game instance. We're going to cast to the custom game state or game instance. Now I'm saying game state all the time. That's going to be helpful. the game instance. Okay, plug up, you rat bastard. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to call this GIMP Steam. That's a game instance. I should really have named that shit better. Forgive me, guys. Okay. Okay. Then we're going to get that game instance ref. We're going to get it. And we need access to the selected match time. We're going to put a branch here because this is going to be a little weird to you guys. And if this is equal to 1, and that will be the condition. Then we're going to set hours to 1 hour. If it's not equal to 1, we're going to set the minutes to whatever this is. See, because 60 minutes is 1 hour, right? And so the way that we set that logic up, it's a little funky because of the way that we set that up. So we have to do a little bit of finagling here. And that should work. Now, here's the deal. If you spawn in here without going through the menu, here's what's going to happen. It's going to start going negative, okay? And the reason for that is because all those values are set to 0 unless you use the menu, right? So at this point, we're going to have to go back into the maps. We're going to open the main menu. And now let's try it, okay? So we go to multiplayer. We hit host game. We're going to go to map 2. We're going to set to 8 players. And we're going to set the match timer. Let's start out with 5 minutes. And we're going to hit host game. And now you can see the match timer started at 5 minutes and started counting down. Now, as that's running, you can see it's not 5 minutes. So let's see if it syncs up exactly whenever this guy comes in here after the fact. So we're going to find games. And join. Bam. Exactly the same. And now we're going to test 1 hour. Okay, just to see. So let's go back in here. Host game. That. 1 hour. Host game. And it starts exactly at 1 hour and starts counting down. So that's correct. And then, of course, this will be synced up when the dude gets there. There you go. Voila. Match timer. Beautiful. Okay, let's save all the things. Now, another thing that's going to be a little weird that we'll probably need to sort out is if we go into single player, check this out. It's going to put that up there and it's going to start counting at 0, right? And the reason is because we have no way to set a match timer. So what I generally do here is I just disable the match timer shit if you go into the single player. So if you guys remember back 6 hours ago when we first started creating this, when we were in the game instance and we created the ability to join a single player, right? Where is that? Start single player. Do you see this variable that we set true here? So if we go into single player, it sets this variable to be true, which then we can use to turn off shit that we don't want to be on if we're in a single player environment. One of those things would be that match timer. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So back in the game state, we're going to do a check right here. Right here. We're going to do a check from the game instance, right? So we could pull right out of this and we could say is single, get is single player. And we're going to put a branch here. And if this is not single player, then we go ahead and do that. If it is single player, we're not going to do this at all. And really, we don't even need the damn timer, okay, at this point. So that's not going to set the values in the first place, which if we left it just like that, it would just, it should, well, it won't set it, but it'll still run, right? See? So we need to tell it not to even start that timer if it is a single player game too. And so right here, where we're starting that timer, oh shit, that's a game instance. That ain't right. Right here where we're starting it, we need to do that same check. So we get the game instance reference and we check is single player. And if it is not single player, hold down B and left click. If it is not single player, then we do all this match timer bullshit. And once again, I would clean this up some, but I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to sit here and watch me, you know, fucking around with lines and shit. So I'll do this in my spare time. Okay, now that will get it to not even tick the timer, but the timer will still be visible. See? So we can make it not even show the damn widget at all, right? And so if you remember back to where we're putting that on, I believe we're doing that in the, what, in the HUD? Where the did I put the HUD? It's in the HUD, right? So right here, that's where we're doing it. So what we could do is on event begin play. Well, we've already got let's add another pin here and let's just move these down. So hold down the left control or left alt and unhook these, and we'll put then 1 here, then 2 here. And we need to create a reference to the game instance, right? Because that's where that's at. So we're going to right click here and type get game instance, pass to the custom game instance. And we'll do that here. And we're going to promote this to a variable. And this shall be called GIMP Steam ref. So that'll give us a reference to it. And that will be created first. So then, oh, this is our, how can this get so messy so quick? Well, it's because I'm fucking scripting. That's why. Okay. So then we get the game instance ref, and we need to know if this is single player. And if it is not single player, hold down the B key, make a branch. That will be the condition. Okay. And this is the match timer. So if this is not single player, we will go ahead and create the match timer. And if it is single player, we just ain't going to do shit. Okay. So that not only won't set the time, it won't even start the timer ticker. will also not even display the match timer. So single player, if you're going to choose to use this as a single player, you know, you just do whatever, right? Basically, we have a way by putting in that is single player. We have a way, as long as we can get a reference to the game instance, we can tell it what to display, what to do, or what not to do based on whether it's actually single player mode or multiplayer mode. Okay, does that make sense? So now when we spawn in here, it shouldn't even show the damn thing, right? So if we go in single player, now we don't even have the match timer. And then of course this guy shouldn't have it either, okay? And we can go back to the main menu, go into multiplayer, host a game, put in some stuff, host a game, and it didn't show the menu. Well, son of a motherless goat. I bet I know why. We're not zeroing out that is single player variable. So see there, guys, you got to bug test your shit. I assume, which may or may not be correct. We need to go into the game instance, and where we're doing the reset of everything, where did we do that? Did we not do that? Right here, we need to set is single player back to false, right? So get this. Oh no. Set this. And we'll just put this in the chain here. Let's see if that's enough to get it done. I don't know if that'll get it done or not, but the problem is that once it creates the game instance, it has to go back to default. Otherwise, it's going to keep doing that shit. So we might actually have to put this on event begin play or some shit. So we go in single player, we got nothing. We go back to the main menu, go into multiplayer, host game, put in the crap. I fucking hate testing menus. I'm so sick of this, I could puke. There it is, and it comes back. So it does reset it now. And then if we leave here, go back to the main menu, and go in single player, we got nothing. Host game, let's check it one more damn time. Voila, and then the timer's back. And then of course this guy should have the same phenomenon. So let's go back. Single player, no map or no timer. Main menu, multiplayer, host a game, put in garbage. Timer's there. Main menu, multiplayer, find games. Are you guys sick of this already? I'm sick of this already. And there it is, and they're both synced. And now if this guy goes back to the main menu, it shouldn't affect this screen. And it didn't. And then if we go back in here, I got to check one more thing. I'm going to kill switch this guy and see if it bumps him back out to the main menu. Yep. So we come over here and he should go back to the main menu when I just hit quit game. Or even if I hit main menu, right? That should happen too. Yep, and it did. Okay, I'm just going to say that works. It may or may not work, but I'm just going to say that it does. And do a big fat save all here. So let me bring chat up and see what you guys got to say. Nothing. I got nothing. So there's Jerome. I see you guys over there. Jerome Brand. Hey guy, what's up? War Machine. Hello. And you're correct. It has been a long time no see. I took a vacation. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else or if we can just go ahead and do a package build here and see if this shit works. I have no way to test it with another person unless they download the project. So I can test it on my screen. I don't think there's anything else that we need to do. I think this is where we're going to call this, right? For the guy that sent me the contribution, I think we're going to call this. This is basically as far as he wanted to go. No, that ain't true either. He was wanting the ability to, from within the game, when we bring this menu up, he was wanting to be able to reset the match timer and initiate map travel. Only the server, not the client. So, and also, we didn't tell it anything to do at the end of the match, which really what it should do at the end of the match is basically just say match is over and then wait for a duration and then go into map 2. If you're on map 1, go to map 2. If you're on map 2, go back to map 1. That's really what it should do. Or you could put all your maps in an array and have it pull one out at random so that you never know what the next map is, which that might be irritating. I don't know. I don't know. Will it be? I don't know. Okay. Well, I'm looking at my reference here, and since there ain't no teams implemented in here, so part of this right here would be for naught, right? So there wouldn't be no reason to check which team won. This add score stuff, there's no scoring system in here yet. I do have display match ended. I'm just looking at my reference here. Trying to see how complicated that'll be to do. You know, it's always funny to go back and look at some of the stuff that you did. I'm just thinking if we do this, I think what we'll do is just make it rotate the maps, not even bring up a screen. Because I actually plan on using this for if I plan on doing what I talked about at the end of the last stream, I'll probably start from this. And so I don't really want to do a bunch of crap that I have to come back and undo. So for now, we're just going to make it flip-flop the map. Okay? At the end of the timer. Single player, it ain't going to do shit. You just play in that map forever. Forever. Okay? So we need to go into the game state in here, and then at the end of this crap right here is where we would need to do that. There is one other thing that is extremely important. Okay, so pay attention here. On Steam especially, I don't know about other stuff. I've only ever done multiplayer for Steam. Okay, we might leave that print string. In order to get map travel to work for Steam, it'll never work in the damn editor. I don't give a damn how much you cuss it out or whatever. It ain't ever going to work in the editor. But in order to get map travel to work for Steam, there is a double secret, triple probation checkbox in your game mode that has to be enabled. Okay. So we're going to open up the game mode. And right here at the bottom of this, you see where it says use seamless travel? That must be checked to be true. Otherwise, map travel will never work. I spent a week debugging, trying to figure out why my goddamn map travel wouldn't work. Part of the week was figuring out that it wouldn't work in the damn editor no matter what the hell you did. The other part was figuring out that that magical checkbox right there had to be checked or it wouldn't work on Steam in a package build. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Okay, so now that we have that checked, what we'll do is we're just going to leave this in here. Maybe we'll populate a widget or something with it. I don't know. We'll see. But the main thing is we're going to put a delay. Just a plain old delay. And this is going to be promoted to a variable. And this is going to be called map travel delay. And we're going to put in a default value of 5 seconds. Now you could put a damn timer here. I mean, there's a million different things you can do. It really just depends on how you want your damn stuff to work, right? And when you're trying to build quote unquote universal stuff, you're limited, right? Like, how do you want it to work? Do you want it to pop up and say match is over? Next map begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, right? Well, then you have to create a goddamn new timer here and a new widget to display that stuff, right? And so when you're keeping this stuff universal, you can mar yourself down in the details and you ain't never going to get any damn where. Okay. So there's that. Then we're going to create a custom event, and this is going to be called server underscore travel to map. And this is in fact going to be set to run on server. When this delay is over, it's going to be called here server travel to map. Okay. We're going to use this function called get current level name. And that's going to go here. This is going to be a little funky Comedina. So we already got a reference. Where are our map names? You guys know where they're at? Did you pay attention through this whole 18-hour video series? Did you pay attention? Where do we get our map names from? This gets the current level that they're on, but where does all the map names come from? That will be in the game instance, and that is a array of map get map names. Okay. And from this, we're going to get, so in an array, for those of you who don't know, the first listing in an array is 0. The second listing in an array is 1. The third listing in an array is 2. So make it just as confusing as possible, right? I mean, seriously. Okay. Okay, so this will give us the name, and we're going to need to check to see if this is equal. Let's put a branch here. I'm confusing myself. Yep. Actually, this is wrong. Delete that. We're doing the wrong thing here. We need to check if this is equal. And that's still wrong. We need to convert this to a text. Son of a bitch. To name. String to name. Son of a bitch. That's what we're looking for right there. And then we're going to check if that's equal to the one in index 0. And that'll be the condition. This is just so much. We're also going to append. So we're going to apply this and type append. And we're going to right click and type execute console command. How many times have you guys ever seen that and used it? And that's going to go here. And if this is true, we're going to do this. We'll be able to copy and paste here in a minute, so this will be helpful. And if you leave specific player blank, that means all players. Okay. And to do map travel in this B here, all lowercase, you type server travel all together, just like that. And actually that's wrong. Fuck me. That goes into here. And this one is the one that says server travel. Is that got a space after it? Yep. So you got to actually put a space at the end of travel. So server travel space enter. Okay. And then we can duplicate this. And if this is false, we're going to get the one in array. Actually, we can duplicate all this. Control W. And this is going to be the one in index 1. So you remember we only did 2 maps. Okay. And this is also going to go here. I guess we could just do this. Yep. And then we can dupe this one. What in the actual hell? What the fuck was that? Control W. I don't know what damn button I hit, but that was really fucking weird. Bringing up weather and shit. That's funny. Actually, these are backwards. This one needs to come from here. And this one needs to come from here. I shouldn't have done it this way. I should have just did it a different way. I mean, I'm sure this is exactly confusing. I'm sure you guys followed right along with that. I mean, for instance, we could have just probably plugged that into here and got rid of that one. Yeah, that'd be the same difference. Now give you one less node. Let me straighten this up a little bit. And then I'll talk about exactly what's going on here. So what's happening here is it's going to look at the current level name. If you're on map 1, it's going to take you to map 2. If you're on map 2, it's going to take you back to map 1. Theoretically, that's what's supposed to happen here. I'm just double checking here. I don't want to get this wrong, but I think that's right. Okay. If it ain't, we know where it's broke at. So let's save all the things here. Okay. Now I'm going to do a backup of this project before I package it out, and then we're going to go do a test. Okay. So I'm going to go into my documents here. And I'm going to delete the saved and intermediate folders out of here. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to compress to zip file. And I'm going to call this MP Steam current. And this is the backup now. So I already backed this up once. So this becomes now back up. And this is the, if I dick everything up, that's where I left off at version. Okay. So we're going to empty the recycle bin. And now we're going to go in here and try to package this thing out. Let me bring chat up, see if you guys had anything to say. Nothing. I got nothing. So we're going to go back in here. And we're going to go into here, into the project, and we'll set this up and we'll do a package build here and see if anything works worth a damn. Okay. I just got to do a couple checks of stuff here. So we need to go into settings, under project settings, and we need to make sure our maps and modes is correct. So the editor startup map, which don't matter, but the game default map is main menu. That does matter. The game instance, that is correct. That does matter. Then we're going to go into the packaging settings here. And I'm just going to leave this to development, full rebuild, And there is a, see here. There is a list of maps to include in a packaged build. We're going to, how many maps do we got? We got the main menu. We got one single player map, and we've got 2 multiplayer maps. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to go in here under this, under maps. We're going to make sure you get the UMap file, right? Not that build data shit. So we got the main menu UMap. We have got the test map 001 UMap. We have got the test map 002 UMap. And we have the SP test map 1 single player. So we do all those, and we can fold this back up. And then there is also a platforms somewhere in there. Target hard supported platforms. That's the one. We only deal with Windows in Galt's Gulch. We don't do any of this stuff. That doesn't mean that it won't work for this other stuff. It just simply means that I have no damn way to test it other than on Windows. So I'm going to uncheck all that stuff. Save everything, and then we're going to hit File, Package Project for Windows 64-bit. We're going to put this on my desktop, and we're going to hit Go and pray that it don't blow up. Go. This is where you separate the men from the boys at, by the way. If this packages with no errors, you've done a damn fine job. If you start seeing a bunch of yellow coming up in this, or red, or it goes, fuck off, then you have got a lot of hunting to do to try to figure out what fucked up. Now that I said that, it'll blow up and tell me to fuck off. Won't it? Of course it will. No, it won't. It's going to work. Look at that. So it's done. So now I have a packaged build sitting right here. Okay. Now I have some other videos on my YouTube page about how you test it on Steam, all the little nuances that you got to go through to get that shit to work. So I'm not going to cover that shit here. So to begin with, we're just going to open 2 instances on my computer and see what happens. Okay. So I'm going to run this. And then I'm going to run it again. Same thing. I'm going to run it 2 times. So that gives us 2 winders. I'm going to go into single player here. And there we are, right in on the single player map. I'm going to hit tab. Check my resume button. Yep. I'm going to go to main menu. Yep. And we're going to quit game. Yep. And it closed the entire window, by the way. So there you go with that. So let's open up another one here. This time around, I'm going to go to multiplayer. I'm going to check my back button. Here, I'm going to quit game. I'm going to open it again. I'm just checking everything, right? So more than not is testing everything to make sure the shit works. Okay. So now we go to multiplayer. We did back. Did we do back? Yeah, we did. We did quit game. Find games. It shouldn't find any damn thing. We got to allow access here. Shouldn't find anything, and it should tell us as such. Then we're going to go to host game. We're going to put in map 1. We're going to set 2 players. We're going to do a 5-minute timer. Wait, does this back button work? Yep, and it zeroed all that stuff back out again, so that's good. Go back in here, 5 minutes, and hit host game. The timer did start at 5 minutes, just the way that it oughta. Resume. Yep. Main menu. Yep. Let's go back and rehost. Let's try map 2 this time. Make sure that one opens. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to Alt Tab over here. Oh, shit. Close that window. Piss off, would you? Can't you see I'm trying to test shit here? Fuck right off. So single player, we go in single player. I'm watching the left screen behind this one to make sure that when this client dicks with menus and stuff, it don't fuck with the server over here on the other side. Okay. So he's in the single player view. Resume. Main menu. Quit game. And it killed his screen, but it didn't do nothing to this one. So now I got to try to open all this shit back up again. So, God bless America. Okay. Open another one. I would just put it on my other screen over there, but you guys wouldn't be able to see a goddamn thing if I did that. So multiplayer, host a game, map 1, 2 players, 5 minutes, host game. Now we're going to bring this guy in to that one. So multiplayer, find games. It should find that server. And it shows 1 of 2 players. Remember, I set it to be 2 players. So it's showing 1 of 2 is connected. So I connect here. And there he is. And my timer is at 4:26. Well, you can see them both right there. They're exactly in sync. Okay. Now, if this guy at this point goes back to resume, all right, that's fine. And if he goes to main menu, it shouldn't mess with the other guy's screen. And it didn't. See? Multiplayer. Find games. Get back in here. Okay. Now, if the server quits, it should kick him back out to the main menu. Or if he hits main menu. So let's hit main menu. Boom. And it kicked me out to the main menu. And it also kicked him out to the main menu. So that's exactly correct. That's what it should do. So let's host this back up again. Map 2. 4 players this time. Let's see if it keeps track of that correctly. Find games. Now it should say 1 out of 4 players. Yep. And it did. Okay. So now we should take this guy as the host, and if he completely quits the game, it should kick the other guy back out to the main menu. Bam. And it did. Okay. Let me think if there's anything else we need to test. Map travel. Actually, there's two things we need to test, okay? So, if I host up a game here, and I put it to 2 players, if 3 players try to connect, it shouldn't even show up for the 3rd player. So there's 1 in here. Remember, I set it to 2. So if we open up another version of this and I do a search, it should show 1 out of 2. And it does. And when I connect, if a 3rd player tries to come, it shouldn't even show up, right? So I'm going to go ahead and open up a 3rd version of this. Multiplayer, and I should do find games, and it shouldn't find any because that server is full. And when it's full, that means it should not be listed, right? So let's see. And it did not. So that's working exactly correct too. Okay. Now I'm going to host another game. And I'm going to open yet another version of this, and it should show 2 servers. Okay. Okay, so multiplayer, find games, and it should show 2 servers with 1 player on each, I think. No, the other one ain't going to show, right? It's not going to show because there's a player on it. So let me, fuck me. Let's see how many screens I can get open, right? So this one here has got 2 people on it. So let's see if I can kick one of them out. And now let's do a research and see if it shows 2 servers this time around. And freaking law. There they are. Now, once again, when you have Steam running, this will be your Steam name. That'll be the name of your server. It'll be your Steam name. Okay. And that's because the built-in plugin does not allow you to put your name of your server in it. You have to use that advanced sessions plugin. And I'd really rather not, right? Because whatever I turn this into may or may not end up as a template on the UE4 marketplace at some point. So I have to keep it free assets or assets I've created. And so I can't use third-party plugins or any of that stuff. Okay? And then at this point, I could join either one of these. Okay? Let's see here. What do I want to do now? I think I'm going to kill all these. And we're going to check Steam as much as I can check Steam, right? Because once again, I'd have to upload this somewhere, this package build, and somebody'd have to download it, and we'd have to do it that way. So I don't want to do that right yet. I'm confident that it will work, but we're first going to do this. So you got to have your Steam thing running in the background. You guys know the drill. And once you have that running in the background, when you launch the project, in the lower right-hand corner, it should pop up your Steam information right here. Accessing the Steam community. Shift and tab toggles your little UI thingamajig. And it's going to say that you're playing a game called Space War. And that is the default app ID that Steam gives you. Here, see, I'm playing Space War. That's the default Steam app ID that is used by Epic Games for testing Steam functionality. So if and when you ever do take one of my templates, or whatever and make a game, before you can sell your game or put it up for sale or whatever it is you're going to do, you actually have to pay Steam money, and they will issue you your own unique app ID. Okay. And that's not something that I'm, ready to do at this time. So yeah, that's really all I can do other than, click multiplayer and hit host game. I didn't put the name of the player listed anywhere or any of that stuff, but at this point it's visible. And if anybody was to search for it, it would show my username. I am John Galt 75 as the server name. And then of course, if I put the name of the player on here, it would be my Steam username. Their Steam username would show up, etc., etc. But that's as far as I can test without another player involved. And really, I'm confident that this will work. I've done this and basically redone the same damn thing I've done in all my projects, and they all work. So I am confident that if you follow these long, drawn out ass videos up to this point, you will have a functioning Steam jigama thing, right? Now, wait a minute. There is one thing we didn't test, and that's map travel, right? So we need to go back to the main menu, and the lowest value that I have that I can set in here is 5 damn minutes. So we are going to sit here and bullshit for 5 damn minutes and see if it goes from map 1 to map 2. Then we shall wait another 5 minutes and see if it goes from map 2 back to map 1. So a moment of silence, please. Shut up, Galt. You're a fucking moron. Fine. So what do you guys want to do for 5 minutes? 10 minutes, actually. I see you guys over there on the right-hand screen. I can come over here and type and talk to you guys. Let's close this down. Actually, we need to bring a player, right? Because it's got to take 2 players. So let me go ahead and fire up one more instances of this. And we will, oh shit, we're on the Steam stuff still. God damn it. I've got to undo that stuff first, because the server will not show up. Now, hit the right button, would you? Yeah, I've got to turn Steam off. Okay, and now I got to bring another Peckerwood in here. It will take you, the host, and all the connected players to the new map. Theoretically. Okay, now we wait. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone unless when you guys ask a question or something. We're going to sit here and wait for these to rotate twice. It'll probably throw that print string too, since I did it for developer mode, the package build. I think the print string will still show up in the upper left-hand corner. After you see that, I think I set it to 10 seconds. So then we wait 10 seconds after that comes up and it should travel. Okay, the first map travel worked. We were on test map 1, and we are now on test map 2. The timer restarted, and now we wait 5 more GDMF and minutes, and we'll see if we get back to map 1. And if we do, test complete. Talk about watching fucking paint dry. This is as exciting as watching paint dry. What do you guys think of that little timer? That's pretty cool, huh? I should have put a default in there of 10 seconds. So that we could use it for testing purposes. Come on, you son of a bitch. It did pop up the print string too, by the way. That's where you would insert, your match in screen. You'd create a widget, display it on all the players' screens, etc., etc. But we're not doing that. Not yet. What are we going to turn this into? It can't be the same templates that I've already made. It's got to be something different. Or it don't even have to be a template. It could be something completely different. I don't know. All right, let's go. Back to map 1. Work, you bastard. Match is over. 10 seconds. And we are back to map 1 with both players. So there you go, guys. Wah freaking law. It worked. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The match timer's dicked. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I know why. I already know why. It's going to have a delay, right? That's why. It's going to have a bit of a delay. It's funny that it worked the first time. It worked the first time, but it didn't this time. So it's going to have a delay in the setting of the timer. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And I'm not going to test this shit again. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident I know what's wrong with it. And we're not going to necessarily fix it today because I'll just show you guys where it's busted at. If we go into the game state, I guess it's in the game state. Right here on this top stroke, right here where we're doing all this stuff at. It's that, you guys remember a couple of videos ago, I made a big deal out of the order in which shit spawns into the world when it comes to your blueprints. Like what spawns first? The game mode. What spawns second? The player controller. What spawns third? This, that, the other. Probably what's happening here is it's trying to set these times. Where does that come from? That comes from the game instance. So that should be created permanently. I'd about be willing to bet you, which I'll test this again at some point, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. More than likely, it needs a delay. It either needs one here to wait for just a split second before it tries to get to the game instance and then set the timer, or it needs one here. Just a little split second delay. That's probably either that one and leave this one out, or this one and leave that one out. That's where the glitch is, because this is what sets the match timer. That might not necessarily be true. It could be. I'm trying to think of what's persistent across the levels, because there are some blueprints that are persistent across the levels. Now, in my other projects, I'm quite 99% sure that I checked this very thoroughly. But of course, you can't never build the same thing exactly the same twice. So I varied a little bit in this project and only used my project as reference. So I'm sure it works in my other projects, and it's some little nuisance like this. Or it could be that the game state is persistent. Wait a minute, did we clear them out? No, it worked one time. Like, I'm 99% sure when we checked this just a minute ago, when we joined in, it started at 5 minutes. When we went from map 1 to map 2, it did restart the timer at 5 minutes, right? So then when it went from map 2 back to map 1, it did not set the time. So that means that where we're setting the time, which is exactly right here, it spawned faster from when we went from map 1 to map 2 than it did when we went from map 2 back to map 1. And since this is where it's setting at, once the game instance is created, it's persistent all the way till you end the game, right? So when you switch from one map to the other, it's not waiting on the game instance to reload. It stays loaded. But apparently the game instance, the game state, what we're in right now, apparently it is not persistent from one level to the other level. And this delay deal here is probably the fix for it. It needs to wait just a split second before it starts that timer. And it could be that you don't even need to do this here, right? Like, you could just put this back to the way that it was. And instead, you put it right here from the get-go. Right here, like this. Wait for a split second after the event begin play. That'll give the blueprint time to spawn. Wait a split second after it's spawned, and then run all this logic to set the time value and start the timer. Let me just look at my other project over here, just to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. No, there is no delay there. Surely I'm not. Well, no, it wouldn't have worked the first time, right? It wouldn't have worked the first time. Or would it? I don't know. I might have to investigate this a little bit. If all the work we done, if all of the work that we've done in these past 3 videos, if the only goddamn thing I can find wrong is there's a little bit of a glitch in the timer dealio, that's a pretty good success, if you want my opinion about it. But I'm pretty sure this right here, just that little 0.2 delay, that'd probably get it to never do that again. Then again, it may be something that I'm missing here. Once again, when you're trying to rebuild something that you've already built, you cannot ever really get it exactly the same. So there might be some little nuance in here that's causing this. Like, we could put a print string in here, and every time we travel from one map to the other, we can make sure that it's rebuilding a brand new game state every map travel, which it should. I think it does. But if it doesn't, then we're going to have to reinitiate the resetting of all these values. The match timer. At the end of this, we'll have to, on event begin play, well, no, if it's not respawning every time, event begin play would only run initially when it first creates it. So there would have to be another workaround. But since I didn't do that in my other projects, it's not that. I'm pretty sure that right there is the deal. unless somehow, no, because it worked the first time, right? When we went from map 1 to map. See, I keep going down trying to diagnose what's going on here, and every time I come up to the same conclusion. If it was broken, when we went from map 1 to map 2, it would not have worked, and it would have started that timer at 0. And I'd have noticed it because we'd been sitting there going, wait, why is this at 0? So when we went from map 2 back to map 1, and we did go back to map 1 because I saw it on the little billboard that I put in there. So then that means it did not set the timer back to 5 minutes. And the only place that we're setting that timer is right here. Yeah, so it's a delay issue. I'm 99.9999999% sure that's what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and close all this down. And I'm going to delete this, right? Because I have that backed up. So I can delete that. I'm going to close this other project down over here. And we're going to delete that one. And now we are ready to begin from this one right here. Whatever, whenever, however, whatever it is that I end up doing from here, that's where we'll start right there. So that'll have to be backed up on my Google Drive somewhere. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys learned a lot. I hope that you decide to make contributions to this YouTube page so that I can make more videos for you guys covering stuff. And until that happens, I'll probably just be not making videos. I'll be doing stuff on, offline or something like that. Maybe collecting my thoughts as to what I'm going to do with this. Right? It can't be on the marketplace with what it is, because that's my $6 templates, the simple capture the flag and the teams and class. It already has more than this, right? So it can't be that. It's going to have to be something. And whatever it ends up being, it can't be competitive with what I already have for sale. So it's going to have to be something uniquely different from what I've already done. So if it's not that, if that's not what the goal is, if I'm not going to make a new template to put on the marketplace to sell, to supplement my income more, then it will be what I had mentioned in the last video, which is when you guys send a contribution and you want to see something implemented in a multiplayer situation, it will start from that template that I just made, whatever you want to call that, little front end of Steam or whatever you want to call it. It'll start from there. And then once again, the only way that you'll get a copy of it, which I'm not sure it's complete yet. I might do a little bit more to it, not online, but I might do a little bit more to it, clean it up, do some more commenting and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll let you guys know. Just be sure and come back and check this page every so often, and I'll let you guys know what I decide I'm going to do. And so Glauber, will you make more Udemy? I don't know. I don't know if I will or not. That course that I have on there now, it covers a metric ass load of ground. It's got shooting mechanics. It's got different game mode implementation. It's already got a ton of stuff. So I wouldn't be adding any more to it, right? Because it just wouldn't. So see, here's the thing. When it comes to Udemy, and I get this question a lot, so I want to actually try to answer it here. Constantly people ask, are you going to add more to the Udemy course? Not necessarily am I going to create another Udemy course. It's always, am I going to add more to the Udemy course that I currently have on there? And the answer is no, right? Because if I go any further than I already have with that Udemy course, I'm not creating a course at that point. I'm making a game, right? That's how close that template is to a game. Got teams implemented. It's got respawn systems. It's got class select. It's got all kinds of stuff, right? And so if I go any further than that, I'm not teaching you guys how to make games. What I'm teaching you is how to make your own games, right? Because if all I do is just keep going, well, at the end of the course, I'm going to have a completed game. Well, then what did I do? I just taught you guys how to make the game that I'm going to try to publish and sell. Okay. Which is contradictory, right? The goal of tutorials is not to, and this is my opinion, by the way, you guys can agree or disagree. It really doesn't matter. There's really no right or wrong answer, but from my perspective, tutorials are not meant to show you how to make a completed game that you can put on Steam and sell. That's not what the hell a damn tutorial is. It's to show you principles and techniques on how to take what you learn in those tutorials and create your own game with your own perspective and your own tweaks and twists and turns, right? That's what it's for. So for adding to the one that's currently there, that would be no, because at that point I should just make a game, and I could make far more money selling a game than I ever could selling tutorials on how I made the game. But this template, or this series of videos that I just made here, we didn't go very far. We got a Steam front end. We got a character running around. There's no health. There's no teams. There's no respawn. There's no death. There's no shooting. There's no kicking. There's no pickups. There's nothing. It's literally just the basic bare minimum to get you to be able to have a Steam front end menu system. So if I was to take what I already did and make a video on, okay, so here's how you take this template and put teams into it. Well, then I'm stepping all over the current Udemy system tutorial I got. If I take that template and say, here's how you add shooting mechanics, multiplayer, I'm stepping on that tutorial that I already have. So it's got to be different, right? Either I'm going to take this template and I'm going to literally build a new template, a brand new template, and put it on the UE4 marketplace for sale. Now, during that process, I could make a tutorial series out of that, but it would be covering, I mean, because I already described to you guys what I was thinking about doing, which is, you know, creating a little co-op, multiplayer co-op shooter, fire folly, run missions kind of thing, right? Well, that's a shooter. Well, I've already got a shooter tutorial. First or third person really doesn't make much difference. If you can build a first person shooter, you can build a third person shooter. If you can build a third person shooter, you can build a first person shooter. So they're really one and the same. So doing first and third, it would be far more goddamn complicated to do a switch between first and third, right? And I already did that with my Jetpack FPS Basic, which is not for sale anymore. But I said after I finished that, I would never do that ever again. It was that complicated. So I wouldn't be doing that. So if I turn this into something, it's either going to be first person only, or it's going to be third person only. And just to be perfectly blunt, I would lean more towards a third person only, right? Because first person, it's a lot more complicated than a third person only. So if I'm trying to keep it simple, stupid, it would just be a third person only game, whatever it ended up being. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. If you guys like what you see here on this YouTube page and you would like to see more content, I'm going to go ahead and tag this one. This series, these 3 videos is done. I accomplished what the guy that sent the contribution wanted. And I'll keep you guys posted and let you know what my plans are for the future. So with that, you guys take care. This is John Galt, and we will see you in another video in another time. Have a good one.